So here I am today at the Museum of Sydney, and it is my last day here in Sydney. Woo. It's also my birthday, so I'm going to spend the day exploring the city before my flight tonight. It's 29 degrees today, so of course I'm dressed in jeans. Smart choice of dress for today. But anyway, Museum of Sydney is actually on the first site of the very first government house. So I'm going to go inside and see what collections there are to explore. So I've just finished inside the Museum of Sydney. Really interesting museum, but check out my vlog all about the museum and you can find out what I saw inside. I'm now heading off to my next destination for today, so catch me then. See you there. And that's been 3 times that I've come here and tried to get in, and I always come just a little bit too close to 5 o'clock, so they're about to close, but I've managed to make it. So I'm going to head round and see all of the gardens and take you all on the journey with me. If you are coming to Sydney, then I think you should check it out. It's only $6 if you're an adult to get in, and let's see if it was worth that. This is pretty awesome. I've only been walking around here for a little while, but what I've seen so far is people just being so peaceful. They're with their families, or couples are walking around hand in hand, and there's tons of birds around here that are just hanging out and swooping above the trees, and there's people feeding fish, like feeding fish in the middle of the city. So I'm going to show you a few little more shots as I go around the gardens, but this is definitely something to check out. So here's a little cool thing I've found. Apparently you give pigs trotters as a gift to aspiring scholars, wishing them success in their career. So if anybody wants to give me some pig trotters as wishing me success in my career, I won't be offended. So this is just awesome. There's actually a tea house inside the gardens. I don't even really know why I'm surprised by that. And I really wish that I had more time because I love tea. But I'm just going to have to walk around a little bit more before I head off. So I hear you all asking, why do they even have a Chinese Gardens of Friendship in Sydney? Well, as I've been walking around the city for the past month, there is actually a very large Asian Chinese population that live in the city. And so it's really important to them to have a place like this that sort of represents home, I guess. And so it was a gift by the Chinese government to Australia to celebrate their bicentenary. And it was funded by the Australian government. And it's set in the beautiful Darling Harbour, which is actually quite industrialised, but in here it's so peaceful. Like I can hear a little bit of the noise of the traffic behind me, but that doesn't even really matter because all I'm hearing apart from that is birds and not much else. So another thing that I love, which I seem to love quite a lot of things, but I love little lanes like this because it kind of reminds me of walking into a secret garden. And that's one thing that I've always wanted. I've always wanted a secret garden. Not quite sure how I'll get that, but you know, a garden with a key gate is probably enough for me. I've walked around all of the Chinese gardens and they're pretty amazing. I'm kind of sad that this is my last day because I would have really loved to have come back and just spent some relaxing time in here. So if you're ever coming to Sydney, definitely something worth doing. But I'm now going to head off and continue on my adventures. So here's something that I'm going to tell you. When I go to venues, I always leave visitor feedback. Now the reason for this is that institutions often have to argue and fight for things to get replaced or redone, or even to keep places like the Chinese Gardens there for the next generation of people, because hardly anybody ever gives them feedback. So if you've really enjoyed your experience, or say even if you've had like a negative experience, if you give them feedback, they can change that negative experience. They have the evidence then where they can say, we can improve on this. So that is my tip for you. Whenever you go on any kind of visitor experience type thing or a venue and they have a visitor's book, fill it in with your comments. It takes 2 seconds to do and it's so important for everybody. Final time getting on a ferry. Aww. So that's it, folks. My research adventures in Sydney are now over. So I'm going to be heading home and writing up a whole bunch of stuff, but I'll still be blogging, and I have another fellowship that's happening next month. So I'll probably be doing quite a few vlogs all about that. So join me for that one. But for now, if you want to stay updated, subscribe to the page, like this video, and If you want any other things you want me to look at, then why don't you drop me a comment as well. But for now, adios!